You got up to go talk with Aditi Kinkawala.
Yeah, from NFL Network, and didn't catch her. Would have been nice to, chop it up with her because she's all over the AFC North, man. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, she does a great job. So the Houston airport, it was quiet.
It would have been
It was
nice.
active. It was
You
active.
never actually made the connection.
No, we didn't. I tried to, didn't make it happen. And then, like you said, CB left us behind. You and I went to go get something to eat because we were starving. You got a nice chicken wrap, I believe. I got, some eggs with peppers and onions and some sausage. And we come back and we see CB in line at the gate, just going to the plane.
Boarding.
And I said, is he going to hit us up?
No.
He was going to leave us behind. Home alone for us in Houston.
He certainly was every man for himself at that point. He was getting on the plane, didn't know where we were, what we were up to. Maybe we went to the wrong gate.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
Didn't care.
Didn't want it.
No.
Can't win with him. Can't coach with him. I want winners.
Can't travel with him.
Can't travel with him. Clearly.
CB, you got anything on this? You got anything? Because I was like, hey, is he going to text us, call us, anything?
Yeah,
last time I checked, you were late to the Group 5 boarding because of this. I was in a race to get there. We had 20 minutes of walk to get there in 20 minutes, so I was eager to get there.
Okay, every man for themselves. Understood.
I think we confirmed something we probably already knew.
Yep.
So there you go. It's our problem.
Speaking of some Super Bowl stuff, do you see what's happening with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and his mom now? The Swifties are coming after them. So I don't know if you saw, C.J. Gardner-Johnson for the Eagles posted, I believe, on Instagram after the game a picture of he and Travis Kelce. And the caption I cannot say on the air, but he was alluding to Travis Kelce should have stayed with his ex-girlfriend. Now, his ex-girlfriend, I believe her name is Kayla Nicole. They dated for years ago, her and Travis Kelce. She was on the field after the game in a whole bunch of Eagles gear, taking victory laps and dancing on Travis's grave, whatever. But because of this caption, AR, it looks like the Swifties have now gone after C.J. Gardner-Johnson's mom's restaurant, which is in Florida, and left her a whole bunch of bad reviews, one-star reviews, and all of that. How do you feel about this? Swifties out of line for this?
No, I listen, I'm only getting what you're telling me. I don't know. I know what you're saying. His ex-girlfriend is an Eagles fan.
I don't know if
she was there, correct? At the game.
100% there.
On the field, I saw afterward.
What I don't know is if she's really an Eagles fan or she was just there to be a hater. That's what I don't know. But she was in the building.
She's a retired media personality?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
All right. So did you tell us what CJ posted?
I can't say exactly what he said, but he alluded to you should have stayed with your other girl and not gone with Taylor.
Because of?
I don't know.
But the headline was more like from a physical standpoint.
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
Cold as peanut butter.
Very superficial. You should have stayed with her because
should have stayed with
she
the
has
peanut
this.
butter.
She doesn't have this.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think he's
you like that?
He's deserving. Unfortunately, you said it's his mom's restaurant?
Yeah, it's his mom's restaurant.
So he screwed up there because he didn't think ahead, right? And he got a little cocky here with the win. There's no reason to really do this, to take aim at another player's ex or current girlfriend. I think that's way out of bounds. You just won, so be the victor, The
Swifties
win
are
graciously.
Out of line. The Swifties are out of line. It's never that serious. But I have learned this. You don't want to come after the Swifties or the Beehive. You come after Beyonce's people, that's a problem. And you come after the Swifties, they're going to bury you. And hopefully for C.J. Gardner-Johnson's mom's restaurant's sake, that the restaurant will recover.
Yeah, I hope people don't just go there based on reviews. I mean, it's not like they went and vandalized the restaurant, right? They just hit her up on social media and did what they could.
The Yelp reviews are not, they're not Yelping right now.
I think both parties are out of line. The reaction seems over the top, but he didn't think ahead, so this will be a lesson learned for him. He just won the Super Bowl. Why take aim at him personally?
Only he can answer that.
Yeah.
I don't.
All right. Anyway, a lot of people watch.
I like the pettiness.
The other thing that we didn't get to yesterday, I know that first call went against the Eagles and everybody thought the fix was in, but there were some other calls. The other one that I noticed, I don't remember if you noticed this, was that there was a late hit called on Kansas City. They were going to get the ball back on a third down. Was it Bolton? Was he the guy that was the late hit?
It was like a screen pass to Barkley.
It was a screen pass to Barkley. Maddie, do you remember this play?
Yeah.
They were going to get the ball back, and they called a late hit that I thought was a normal in-action play. He even held off a little bit. And so they didn't get any of it. They got the one call at the beginning, which you and I thought both could have been called.
Hands to the face.
With the hands on his face mask. So I hope this puts to rest. We're so into results-based stuff, confirming everything we ever thought in the world. Mm-hmm. Like if the Chiefs would have won, you know what would have happened. It would have been the GOAT and this and that. And it's just nobody can just watch things like individually anymore. Everything has to be added to a list and this and the greatest and where do they rank? Like
it's the world we live in, man.
We got to fast forward on everything. I think it's like the DVR generation.
The game was over, and I swear 20 minutes after that, I got an alert on my phone saying, here's the odds for next year. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles weren't even on the podium yet, and I'm getting alerts about odds for next year and all that. So, yeah, this is a microwave society that we live in. You got to have information, new information every day. It's pretty wild. Really is.
But it was very unexpected the way it happened, and I think that's what's great about it. We will come back, and we'll stay in the NFL. Will Shedeur look good in brown and orange, or orange and fudge on this show? And what does primetime daddy have to say about it? You'll hear it next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
My name is Paul. I'm 58 years old. I lost 45 pounds thanks to the Awaken 180 program. Before Awaken 180, I was drinking Pepto out of the bottle at night to go to sleep from heartburn. I was struggling getting up and down the stairs, like tired all the time. And I didn't know that's how it wasn't supposed to be. I just accepted that's how my life is. And then one day I said, it doesn't have to be this way. I made a decision to change my life, and I chose Awaken 180, and that was the best choice I ever made. I needed support. I'm a person who needed support. Awaken 180 provided that support for me. They changed my relationship with food. I changed it with their guidance. That was the whole thing. I had to change my relationship with food. And I learned how to eat. I learned healthy fats. I learned all about sugar and what it does to me. And I just learned a new way to live.
A change Paul and I both needed and we received with Awaken 180. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. If you're searching for a Honda lease deal here in Central Ohio, I know you've come to the right place. Leasing allows you to enjoy that flexibility in one of their fantastic, sharp, reliable vehicles. I'm so confident that Rich and his team can tailor a lease deal that's right for you. Like a 2025 CRV LX all-wheel drive, $349 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $19.99 down. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Is foot pain keeping you from living the life you love? Hi, it's Ron with the Good Feet store. Life is too short to be living with pain. When all four arches in your feet are supported, the results can be amazing. Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. It's time for the Love Your Windows sales event. If you buy 2 windows, you get 2 free, and there's no limit. So if you need 20 windows, you only pay for 10. It's the perfect way to save big while upgrading your home. And that's not all. Universal Windows Direct is offering no interest financing for 3 years. That's 36 months of easy payments with 0% interest. And if you already have a price from another company, Universal Windows Direct will beat it. So you know you're getting the best deal around. Call them today, 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings on hundreds of items every time you shop. With new low prices, deals for days, weekly sales, and My Perks at your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Do it now.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are tracking a slight chance of snow out there today. Today's high will be around 34. Southern Ohio, though, is getting hit with a pretty sizable snowstorm, so be careful if you are traveling down there. Heading into tomorrow, we're looking at cloudy skies in the morning. Rain comes in by Wednesday afternoon with a high of 39. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
It's Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
Jason B. Hirschhorn, co-founder of The Leap, the Packers newsletter, award-winning NFL writer, will jump on at 12:30. All right, so primetime, orchestrating the Shedeur draft. So he's kind of playing marionette here and the puppet master for his son, and why wouldn't he? Wants to get him to the right situation, pull an Archie Manning for an Eli Manning and all that, right? Especially at quarterback, where you don't want to just get stuck in a situation. You know what? I thought one of the best tweets of the week, and I can't remember who tweeted it out, was how bad Mahomes played in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And somebody had tweeted, well, now we really get to see what it would have been like if the Bears did go up and take him. That's what it would have looked like, most likely.
It's something, that we've talked about a lot, too. When it comes to Mahomes, he's great, right? He laid an egg in the game, didn't have help from his offensive line, but it speaks to, since we're in draft season, just how important fit and timing is, no matter how good you are. And for Mahomes, going into Kansas City, being around Alex Smith for a couple years as a vet, and then being attached to who he's been attached to with his talent, it was just the perfect storm for him. And that's how things align for all-time greats sometimes. They get into a situation, they hit the ground running because they're that good, and the front office and everybody around them just fits exactly what they can do.
So Primetime was on the Rich Eisen show, I guess this week at Radio Row, and did talk about the teams, the possibilities, and maybe give a little hint on what he'd be good with.
Do you have a sense of which franchise he will be the face of? I think it's going to be one of the top three, for sure. I've spoken to all but one. Right. That's the Titans. I haven't spoken to them yet, but he has. But the others I've spoken to. Well, he was. Did you see Brian Callahan talked about Joe Burrow's arm? Yeah. When it comes to the door? Forget it. He can spin it. We know he can spin it. Right. I mean, he has 4 years of film. So he's straight. Started every year in high school, started every year in college, but missed one game. So we understand what we're getting. It's no surprise what he is and who he is. I think he's the most qualified quarterback for that level and for what comes with that position in the face of a franchise than anybody in the draft.
He may be right. It may be biased. It may be both. That's fine to think that way. They promoted Bill Musgrave to QB coach. I'm reading into that, someone who Deion has had a close relationship with over the years.
Who did that, AR? Which team are you talking about for Musgrave? I'm just asking.
I'm sorry. Who? Wait a minute. Let me double check.
Because that's a good nugget to bring up for sure. If they have somebody that has a relationship with Deion.
Did they not promote him yet, CB?
They did promote him to QB coach, and he had
That's
the
what I thought.
relationship with Deion.
Yeah.
Deion mentioned him as one of his favorite Super Bowl moments is when he got into play.
Right, okay.
You're talking about the Browns.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay. That's what I was just trying to get clarity on. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought I didn't hear it correctly, that maybe he wasn't.
No,
we're on the same page.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. And Stefanski with Shermer, who's Colorado's OC. Like, there's a lot of connection between the Browns and Colorado and Deion. And that is the one hurdle to get over, is whether or not Deion's going to bless this potential thing, because his son's going to follow his lead, and why wouldn't he?
It didn't sound like he has any reservations about Cleveland. Like, it didn't sound that way. I don't know if he would do that on record. He did clarify he hadn't spoken to Tennessee, but Shedeur has. So if I'm a Browns fan, if you're a Shedeur guy or gal, if you're a Browns fan, that's good to hear. That is good to hear, because right now, as we sit here on February 11th, it seems like the Sanders camp would be open to coming to Cleveland. The problem with this is what Rich Eisen alluded to in that clip, and Tennessee picking before Cleveland. They hold all the cards in this right now, and Brian Callahan spent time in Cincinnati over the last couple of years being attached to Joe Burrow, and if he sees that in Shedeur, not that Callahan would have the end-all, be-all say over there in Tennessee. Maybe he does. I don't know. But if he can sway some people within that building to see that same vision and say, okay, we get this guy down here and we make him a Titan, we may have a similar quarterback to what Cincinnati has. Joe Burrow's one of the elite guys. I don't know if Shedeur is going to be that, but when you look at how those guys get down on the field and their style of play, to me, it is similar. To me, they're two guys that can rip you from the pocket. You keep them upright, they can spin it with the best of them. And I believe Shedeur can do that in the NFL. Last couple of years, we talked so much about how Colorado hasn't protected him. He got beat up so much a couple of years ago. He got a little better this past year. His completion percentage went up. And I think you get him in the NFL around a good pass-catching unit, which Tennessee, they don't have at the moment. But, man, if they see Joe B 2.0 down there in Nashville, Cleveland could be in trouble. And that's going to be the unknown of all of this in the coming weeks. Is it Cam Ward? Is it Shedeur? We talked to some people down there in New Orleans. We talked to Greg Cosell off the air. He's a big Cam Ward guy over Shedeur. But that, to me, was the second biggest piece of the clip and what we heard outside of, Deion sounding okay with him becoming a Brown, is that Brian Callahan probably really likes Shedeur because he worked around Joe Burrow, and we know how great Joey B is.
Yes, this kind of has the C.J. Stroud-esque feel to it, where maybe coming into the NFL, there were certainly questions about his mobility or his willingness to run. He put that to rest against Georgia, but there wasn't a big sample of him wanting to do that. Cam feels like very similar to me in that, and that if you get it all with Cam, and I do feel like the Titans are in a really tough spot right now, because I think that both these guys, especially Cam, is probably an upgrade over Will Levis.
I agree.
But we just don't know how big of an upgrade, because if you can get Abdul Carter and feel like that's the safest floor at number one, and then stay with the quarterback, but this is a quarterback league now. I would not be shocked if they took Cam Ward. I would be a little surprised if the Titans went quarterback and they took Shedeur over Cam, just slightly. I don't know. And that would change things for the Browns then. Then you go ahead and take Cam Ward, and then I feel like you would. Like, all these teams are going to look at a quarterback. Could they take Travis Hunter? Of course. He's the best available guy, from a defensive, offensive standpoint, versatility, all that. I'm into the Browns taking a swing on this, especially if they get the pick of one of those two guys, which they will, of either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I don't think it would be, quote, a mistake. You're still drafting a rookie. There's no guarantee. This isn't handing a guy $230 million like they did to Deshaun. Yeah. This is taking a swing where you have to in the NFL.
And I wouldn't mind them double dipping either. What I mean by that is grabbing one of these guys. And the other part of this equation, too, is Kevin Stefanski's offense, right? Do both these guys fit exactly what he wants to do? Only he knows that, just based off of, what style of quarterback he wants. I don't know. You look at the guys he's brought in the last couple of years, and Flacco and Winston, those guys are mobile quarterbacks. Not that he wouldn't
pro
want
style,
that.
drop back,
right? And so
be accurate.
Only Kevin Stefanski knows that. But I think if you do draft one of these guys at 2, going to get a vet to pair with them this offseason, whoever that may be, I would see the vision on that too. Cam Ward, I like him. He's got some of that gunslinger in him, which can be a pro and a con, right? He'll make some of those elite throws in the tight windows, but sometimes he'll make that head-scratching throw where he throws across his body back to the middle field and all those things. I'm a Shedeur guy because I just think, man, you find a way to create clean pockets for him week in and week out, and he's going to do damage with his arm.
Trying to think of that veteran that you're talking about. To me, it would either be bringing back Jameis.
Here for it.
Or because I'm trying to find a guy that's
going to be too expensive.
Cousins may be
that creates
a little cheaper, but then I guess he would be a nice veteran bridge if you want to afford. But then you got Deshaun, you're paying him. Like, it feels like to me, that would be the one. I don't.
Jameis.
Yeah,
Jameis told McAfee he's a starting quarterback in the league, so I don't know if he wants to be a backup anymore. Now, is somebody going to grant him that opportunity? I don't know, but Jameis is probably looking for a starting gig this offseason. We'll see.
All right, we will also see when we send you guys to Low T Center because they're the place that's going to help you feel better. If you've been feeling exhausted and you're lacking motivation and drive, you've gained some pounds, please find out. It could be signs of low testosterone. You've been sitting with this feeling for a long time and you're wondering why. So if you're curious, find out. Low T Center is going to make it really easy. Go in, get your blood test. They'll give you the results, and then you have the proof. Then you don't have to guess anymore that that's it. And if it's not it, great. You found out. If it is it, they certainly can advise you because they have more than a decade of experience helping patients. It's very important. They're going to personalize the treatment for you. You specifically, an individual, not a standard dosage treatment. If you're a current patient of Low T, you get a $150 referral credit if you refer a new patient. So it's all win-win for everyone. If you go to lowtcenter.com now, book your appointment today. lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care. Jason B. Hirschhorn up next. The NFL is going to play a game that counts where? Find out next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And though I generally talk about medicine and effective treatments for erectile dysfunction and other men's sexual health issues, today I want to talk about love. Because love is the best reason to get treated for your ED. You see, ED can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, arguments, breakups, and even contribute to divorce. But the good news is that if you're like most men suffering with ED, you can be successfully treated at Tri-State Men's Health and put a stop to the relationship stresses that ED can cause. I say this with all confidence because we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Truly, it's likely you'll find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get the love back in your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Anthony can follow direction very well as long as he first prints out MapQuest. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Got me around New Orleans. The old MapQuest. All right, Jason B. Hirschhorn, our man, award-winning NFL reporter, co-founder of The Leap, the Packers newsletters, with us now on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fangast Hotline. Jason, welcome back, my man.
Happy to be back. Ready to talk about Down Under?
Yes, you heard my tease. I thought it was a pretty damn good one. Is this absolutely true? The NFL is going to play a game in Australia?
The NFL will play a game in Australia, at least one game in Australia, for the 2026 season. The Los Angeles Rams will be the official home team, obviously not really at home. This is part of, obviously, the NFL's expansion outside of the United States. I've been doing this now for like about a decade. The interesting thing here is this really plays into the NFL's plan of like parceling out foreign territories for particular teams. The Rams and the Eagles are actually the teams that, quote unquote, own the Australian territory from the NFL's perspective. So that's why the Rams were the team chosen to be this first team. We could see an Eagles game there too, whether in 2026 or a season soon thereafter. But yeah, the NFL is definitely going to expand outside of the regions that we've seen them play games.
All right, you've done more work on this than I have, and I've never been there. When would they kick off that game locally in Australia, and then what would that make the time here?
It really depends on what day of the week that game is supposed to be played in terms of the U.S. If that game is, for example, a Thursday night game or a Monday game, it's going to be particularly strange given the time difference between the U.S., Los Angeles in particular, and Australia. But if that game is, let's say, designated to be on a Sunday, that changes the plan too. I don't know that the NFL actually has that totally worked out yet. They just know that in the 2026 season, the Rams will play a game against somebody in Melbourne, Australia.
Okay. Jason, we've been still kind of dissecting some of the things that we saw down in New Orleans in that game where the Eagles just dominated Kansas City. What were your thoughts going into the game? Who did you pick, and how surprised were you by what you saw?
I wasn't surprised that the Eagles won. I was surprised by how the Eagles won. It was clear, for weeks, if not months, that the Eagles had top to bottom more talented team than the Chiefs. There were a lot of teams in the NFL this season that had more talent than the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, whether because of the coaching staff, whether because of Patrick Mahomes coming up big in big moments, a combination thereof, had found a way to navigate that throughout the season. They had the number one seed in the AFC. They were, a heavy favorite in most of their games in the postseason and in late season games. And yet, the Eagles' talent ended up being so much more dominant than what the Chiefs could muster. It was the worst game we have ever seen for Patrick Mahomes. And I don't mean his worst performance in a Super Bowl. It was his worst game as a starter in the NFL, period. It was also a very poor showing for basically everybody in that offensive line in particular. Now, that unit had been kind of a, held together by duct tape situation throughout the year. They had their guard starting at left tackle. That wasn't a new thing. They've been doing that for several weeks. So it's not totally shocking that this really strong Eagles defensive front was able to take advantage, but it was clear from the get-go that Mahomes was not going to have much time to get anything going. Mahomes was not particularly accurate with his throws. His receivers weren't coming up in big moments. When you had that going for them, especially with the turnovers that the Chiefs ended up giving away, it just became an insurmountable difference for Kansas City. So that's how we went from a potential three-peat to now wondering if maybe this whole dynastic thing is already over for the Chiefs. I don't know we're there yet, but that discussion has started.
All right, so about that with the offensive line, and we kind of knew that they were in big trouble when they kicked Tooney outside and Caliendo was a backup guard versus great pass rushers. Juwan Taylor was struggling. They let Donovan Smith go last year. They drafted a tackle. Like, they were band-aiding this, but they were winning games. So we were all duped into thinking, and we had a lot of evidence that they could win close games and win against good teams. They had. Were you more surprised that Andy Reid didn't adjust anything to try to help him, or he just couldn't? There was nothing to do. They were down by too much.
There's certain things that he did try and certain things that he couldn't try in terms of Andy Reid. If you notice, the majority of that game, the vast majority of the game, when the Chiefs were on offense, they were playing from the shotgun. That's not unusual for the Chiefs. They're usually in shotgun. Part of the reason that they couldn't really go under center is because of that offensive line. Like, they weren't able to generate the kind of protection they needed to have Mahomes line up there. When you don't have your quarterback under center, it's a lot harder to get the run game going, and we saw that too. That run game, they didn't even really have to have a chance to try it late in the second quarter and beyond. So all those things really came up on them. Had the Chiefs been able to keep it close, remember for a while, the Chiefs defense actually did have some big moments. They generated a turnover. They were able to keep the Chiefs at least in spitting distance of the Eagles relatively late into the first half. But once the Eagles were able to get that big lead going in the halftime, that 24-0 lead, there really was nothing that the Chiefs could do. They were going to need the Eagles to implode, and the Eagles were not going to put themselves in position for that to happen. They didn't have a ton of dropbacks from that point going forward. I know they had that long touchdown into Devontae Smith, but that pretty much was it from that perspective. The Eagles just said, hey, we're going to sit on this ball. We're going to grind out the clock. And you might be able to make it less of a blowout, but it is going to be a blowout at the end.
So now that we've turned the page and we're looking at the offseason here, for you, Jason, personally, what's the one storyline that you are going to be locked in on, you can't wait to see unfold? What is that for you?
I'm very curious to see what happens with Sam Darnold, because even if he doesn't return to the Vikings, that could still take many forms. Are the Vikings going to franchise tag him with the hopes of trading him because there are consequences to the salary cap if they try that? Are they going to let him just outright test free agency? Are they going to decide, actually, we want to keep him and maybe delay the J.J. McCarthy plan for at least another year? All of these things seem at least reasonably likely. I don't think the Vikings totally know what they're going to do yet. I know they projected that they like Sam Darnold. Kevin O'Connell during Super Bowl week said as much, but Kevin O'Connell also said some pretty similar things about Kirk Cousins around this time last year, too. And Cousins did not return. So I'm curious to see what they do there, because it's not just a huge decision for the Minnesota Vikings. If Sam Darnold actually becomes available, there are a lot of teams, not just contenders, that are going to be interested in what he can bring to their roster.
He's going to be expensive. He's going to try to be expensive. Maybe the way he kind of, took a nosedive there at the end of the season, maybe that did cost him. A lot of people thought it did a lot of money. Where are you on that with the Darnold and the last? I know he was great most of the season. He was getting some MVP love and all that, but the way it ended, how much is that going to affect it?
I don't get the sense that the end of the season is going to have a huge impact on Sam Darnold's market. Look back a year with Kirk Cousins as another good example here. Kirk Cousins didn't play most of his last season with the Vikings because he had that torn Achilles, so ended up making a ton of money in free agency. Darnold is younger. He's coming off a better season. And there are teams who are going to be able to say, hey, that guy can be a quarterback in 2025 and maybe 2026 and 2027. And when you have that kind of outlook, that player typically gets paid. And he's going to have multiple suitors if he does reach that point. I don't think he's going to reset the market for quarterbacks. I don't think he's really going to be in that conversation. But could he get like the Baker Mayfield contract with interest? I think that's very much a possibility. And if that's the case, he's going to be one of the 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL in a matter of weeks.
Give me your quick take. I'm glad you mentioned Cousins. Give me your quick take on this. Has a real feel. Maddie and I just talked about this potential reuniting with Stefanski. And then would they still draft a quarterback at 2 if they got Cousins? And how you think that would all play out? Deshaun on the bench and all. Where do you see that little circus happening where Stefanski could go back into his little Flacco bag of tricks and get Cousins and kind of bridge that thing until he gets a rookie quarterback ready? You see that happening?
It depends on how Kirk Cousins becomes available. If he is outright released and the Browns or any team in theory that's interested can sign him for a relatively paltry amount, not have to give up anything in terms of trade, then, yeah, I actually do think that's very possible for the Browns. They're in position to draft a quarterback. I don't know how they feel about Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders or anyone else in that class, but at least they're going to have an option there, presumably. But if Kirk Cousins is someone where actually a bit of a trade market forms, and that feels unlikely now, but, at the Super Bowl, there were executives who were talking about, he's a quarterback we've seen play well in the semi-recent past, and we can potentially acquire him for something. Yeah, I do think there's going to be a trade market for him. Now, I don't know that's a universal opinion, but if there comes to the point where teams are willing to trade something, maybe it's even just like a 5th-round pick, and I'm making up that amount of compensation there, then I don't know if the Browns are going to be interested. I think they're going to, at that point, prefer to take an approach where maybe, they draft a quarterback, but then they sign a different veteran or acquire a different veteran. I don't know at that point Kirk Cousins is as likely. But, again, if Kirk Cousins becomes a street free agent, if the Atlanta Falcons release him outright, I do think that is a possibility for Cleveland.
Real quick, Jason, the Dallas Cowboys had to sit back and watch two teams play in the NFC Championship game. The other team go on to win the Super Bowl. They hire a new head coach. Just the Dallas Cowboys, their all season, do you feel like they got it right at head coach, and do you believe that they're going to be a contender anytime soon?
New head coach is an interesting way of framing it because Brian Schottenheimer has been in that building now for multiple years. I don't think that the majority of the league believes that the Dallas Cowboys got it right, not because they don't think that there's any scenario where Brian Schottenheimer is a good coach, but more of the process seems so limited from the jump. And that's not just with the head coach. Like, it seems like the process for building that entire staff is going to be fairly limited relative to what other teams are trying, that it's really going to come down to how much talent they have left. And that in and of itself is a question. There's talk that Micah Parsons may actually be on the trade market this year, that there are internal discussions in Dallas about that. So if hypothetically they are trading away Micah Parsons, even if it's for a huge haul, I know it's going to help the Cowboys a lot in 2025. Their Dak Prescott will be back. That obviously will help. CeeDee Lamb. There are weapons on offense and defense besides the players I just mentioned, but it's not a roster that top to bottom looks as strong as it did even 12 months ago. And this is a coaching staff that includes a lot of the same people, at least a lot of the same important people that it did last year when things didn't go super well. So I don't have a ton of high expectations based on what I am hearing from people in the league about the 2025 Dallas Cowboys. If anything, it would be 2026 if they build it up right, but who knows if that's even going to happen. This is a Dallas Cowboys team that has not spent a lot of money, despite what people think, on that team, on that roster over the last few years, other than retaining guys they already had. So I really don't have a ton of optimism for the way that is shaping up.
He's the man, award-winning NFL writer, co-founder of The Leap, the Packers newsletter, our friend Jason B. Hirschhorn. All right, Jason, be well. We'll ring you back soon. Thank you.
All right, take care, guys.
Jason was on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. All right, who had the best weekends? Find out next in Party Like a RothStar. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience, powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus, 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
This is Hall of Famer number 275, Chris Carter. Buckeye born and bred. Ohio has been a huge part of my football career. From Friday nights in Middletown to Saturdays at the Shoe, and now all the way to Canton. Now I want you to experience football heaven, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Go to 971thefan.com/Go Jacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the home of professional football, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion, relive the glory.
Hey friends, Beamer here. I got an update for you. Last week, 42 pounds in 8 weeks. If you're waiting on this week's results, it has been 9 weeks and I'm down 46 pounds, all thanks to my friends over at Awaken 180. To be honest with you, everything just kind of has changed. I feel better. I'm less lethargic. I look forward to getting up in the morning. I even look forward to running around with Willie at home, outside, all kinds of good stuff. It's been tremendous. And the secret to my success, it hasn't been a breakthrough, but my coach, Natalie, she has been awesome. She tells me what to eat. She tells me when to eat it, which has really been nice for me. Big games, we know this last month has been crazy. She has been the health guru that I need. And also I'm not snoring, so I'm sleeping better, which makes sense for all the energy that I have now. If you've ever thought that weight could be a problem for you, or if you're thinking about addressing it, let my friends at Awaken 180 tell you and show you how to do it. Let them show you how easy it is and give them a call. That's Awaken 180 at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
For 100 years, our passion at Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Look at the tattoos, yeah! Tattoo Wednesday.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text TAP to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text TAP to 321-321. That's TAP to 321-321.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus Worthington, Air and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Let's all gather into the Kiki. It's time to party like a RothStar.
All right, what a weekend. So many to choose from. Ice, who's leading off?
You are. You are, my friend. I'm
going to go to a small little town of Odebolt, Iowa. And by the way, that's 3 syllables. Iowa. That's how you pronounce it. I think I have 1,000 people from this town. Okay. No joke. This kid goes to Iowa City, becomes a first-team All-American, maybe one of the best defensive backs in the conference, the return specialist of the year, first-team All-Big Ten, finalist for the Thorpe Award. That's the nation's top DB if you're keeping track at home. Or the Nagurski, which would be the top defender. Started a lot of games and missed the end of the year with a broken fibula, all that. Former Hawkeye turned Philadelphia Eagle, I believe second-round pick, early second round. I'll have to go back and check that, check my math on that. But when you think about the game that Cooper DeJean had, a kid from a city of 1,000 people that, by the way, had 1 interception all season, including the playoffs. Yes, that one. The one where he picked Patrick Mahomes, took it back for 6 in a win on his birthday, is about the biggest party like a RothStar you could ever dream up for a rookie to get a ring and get that. He turned 22 on Sunday. And I know I'm going to give credit to Chris Berman for this one, because I was watching late into the morning. We have, how old was Barkley? How old did Barkley turn?
Saquon, I think it was 28. Don't hold me to that, but I think that was correct. Saquon turned 28.
There's a math. I'm going to go back and look. Chris Berman had this added up for two of them. Yeah. Somehow it added up to 59. I have to go back for Super Bowl 59 and what they had done and all that.
Okay.
And so I'm giving it to Cooper DeJean. He's partying like a RothStar.
You said he's from Ayahuasca, Iowa?
No, Odebolt.
Not off that.
Ayahuasca?
He ain't off that Aaron Rodgers. First candidate for me. I'm starting the National Basketball Association. We're going out to Cali. We're going out to Cali because J.J. Redick.
I don't think so.
Has the LeBron-led Lakers and now Luka Doncic-led Lakers on one right now. The Lakers have won 6 in a row, 9-1 over their last 10 games. Luka and LeBron played for the first time together last night. They mopped the floor with the Utah Jazz. Luka had an okay game, 14 points.
Yeah.
4 assists, 5 rebounds. He'll get settled in. He only played
1 of 7 on threes.
It's all right. He only played 24 minutes in the game. working his way back from an injury.
Until I lost a little money.
Yeah, he'll get it going. But this is about the Kang. This is about LeBron James because he's still doing it. It's crazy. He's 40-something years old, and he's playing at a high level. LeBron ranks 4th in the NBA in assists per game at 9. But over his last 4 games, old Bron, he's averaging 31 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, had a 42-point game the other day, all while shooting 50% from 3 over these last 4 games. Lakers headed in the right direction. Surprised everybody with the Luka for AD trade. This is going to work out well for them. They got to fine-tune some things, but when you got those 2 dudes, you got a chance. LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers right now partying like a RothStar.
All right, I just figured it out. This was Berman's at like 2 in the morning.
Back.
Cooper DeJean's jersey number is 33.
Yeah.
Barkley's is 26. They both had the same birthday on Super Sunday. Their jerseys added up to 59.
There you go.
That's a pretty cool little nugget in a win. All right, here's another great one. Dickie V is back, baby.
Hey, love to see it.
We celebrate the return of a true legend. For over 4 decades, his passion, energy, and unmistakable voice have defined the game we love. After a 2-year battle with cancer, he's back where he belongs. Courtside, calling the action and inspiring us all. Welcome back to college basketball, the ACC and Clemson, the one and only Dick Vitale.
It's awesome. At Clemson, jumped back in for Duke Clemson. Been gone for 2 years. He's been battling cancer and 85 years old. And announced he was cancer-free in January. He's battled 4 different types of cancer in the past 3.5 years. Most recently, he had a surgery this summer on a lymph node in his neck that showed cancer. I know that we've gone through the time where you have these announcers that have been around forever, and they have a certain uniqueness and trademarks and all that. And they face that scrutiny of kind of aging themselves out and being a broken record. I've never felt that about Dickie V. I feel he is aligned in the sport he loves for the first time. He joined ESPN in 79 and 80, just after ESPN launched. He joined them, and he called their first ever NCAA basketball game in the late 70s, 79. And I'll tell you, I had the pleasure of having a little bit of a history with him in that in 96, he did an appearance at Villa Milano here in Columbus in 1996. And it was the year my brother got married. And any major celebrity I ran into, I had them do a little congratulations to Brian on a video, and I made it into a show.
Yeah.
And Vitale did one for me where he found out, he asked, about my brother's wife and wanted the names and called him an overachiever and all this. All he did, his whole signature thing on the video. And it was amazing. I'm indebted to him as a student calling games at IU. I took a picture with him here when I was covering Ohio State, and he was in town calling games in the 90s. I would always talk to him. I think he is awesome with a capital A. I'm so happy to see him back at 85 and cancer-free. Dickie V, partying like a RothStar.
There you go. Shout out to one of the GOATs. Last candidate for me. It's all of us baseball fans because we back, baby. We back, baby. Pitchers and catchers reporting today. CB, he's a Reds fan. I'm a Reds fan. Seeing Ellie in the house. Terry Francona taking over. It is time. It is officially print the shirts season. It is time for baseball. Tito's taking over in Cincinnati. I'm excited.
He's skipping basketball, folks.
And we'll be talking about baseball until wintertime. You know how this thing works, but I'm really locked in, man, on what my Reds are going to do. But for all of us baseball fans, man, we're back in business. Let's get it going.
I'll tell you what, when we have Dockich on Thursday, you guys will do the little Reds-Cubs battle because he's a Cubby. They may be.
Cubs are going to be good.
They're going to be good.
They're going to be good.
All right, quickly, finally, for me, it was me. French Quarter, the Ashley Judd Double Jeopardy movie tour that I took CB on and dragged him on that one. The Oakley party, the 5 Stray Cats that I took home, the food, the fun, the interviews, me brokering of getting Paige Spiranek to the Memorial Tournament one day. That's all in play. I will put myself as the final party like a RothStar. We come back top of the hour, and why is this team the most interesting for the NFL offseason. We'll let you know next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hit a home run for happy hour and ask your Twin Peaks girl about local specials on drafts, cocktails, shots, and more.
Buckeye fans, it's time for date night with Ohio State women's basketball. This Thursday, February 13th, join us at the Shot to watch the Buckeyes take on Minnesota. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets and gear up for game day at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Beloved former basketball coach and educator Satch Sullinger knows you got to keep moving to stay healthy. But that's not so easy when your aching joints won't cooperate.
We still want to move and we still want to get around and we still want to be active, but we start to deteriorate the moment we quit moving.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments help restore movement in stiff, aching knees, hips, shoulders, and back, using only your natural healing properties to help restore damaged joints. That's a huge positive for Satch.
It's working, and what I really like about it is there's nothing foreign put in my body. Everything that was put in my body has been taken from my body. I love it. I love it. Like I said, I want to live until the day I die.
Get rid of the pain and start moving again. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus and call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation. 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. Again, 208-4544. QC Kinetics.
How'd you like to wipe out all that credit card debt to start the new year off right? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Stop getting
on Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Matt Andrews. The Cavaliers drilled the Timberwolves last night at home, 128-107. Cleveland out 43-10 on the year. Up next, a game in Toronto tomorrow for the Cavs. Buckeye basketball back on the hardwood tomorrow night here on The Fan. They'll host Washington at 8:30. Get the shot. OSU 14-10 on the year, 6-7 in the Big Ten. Tonight in the conference, number 7 Purdue is at number 20 Michigan. UCLA plays at Illinois. IU is at number 11 Michigan State. Penn State plays at USC. And Northwestern is at Oregon. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Earn a $200 cash with a home equity line of credit from BMI FCU. Visit bmifcu.org/home-equity for more.
What's up, knuckleheads? You're listening to Rothman and Ice on The Fan. It's not terrible.
We welcome you back. Second hour of the program. Brian Roberts. We'll talk draft with him. Get you Brownies fans all set at 1:30. Maddie wants to give out the truck rodeo.
You're darn right I do, because our listeners are the best and they deserve all the goodies in the world right now. We're giving away 4 tickets to the world's toughest rodeo. The rodeo is this Saturday, February 15th, over at Nationwide Arena. 614-821-9710 is CB's hotline number over there. Earlier, we heard from Deion Sanders. His son, Shador, probably will be selected in the top 3. You got the Titans, the Cleveland Browns, and the New York Giants rounding out the top 3 in this year's NFL draft. Deion said that he talked to a couple of the teams within the top 3. Who was the team that he personally did not talk to? You get that team correct, CB's going to hit you up with 4 tickets to the world's toughest rodeo. Again, our number is 614-821-9710. Get in there. Light them up. Hopefully, for CB's sake. And ours.
Trying to think if I even know the answer.
CB's hyped that you don't know.
It's a tough one.
He's hyped that you don't know because, sometimes we do these prizes and CB looks at us like he's seeing a ghost. Like, what? I wasn't listening. I don't know.
That's what makes it a great question. Even the hosts don't know the answer. All right, so that'll make you guys special. Schefter put out a list of his most interesting teams.
Yeah, man.
In the offseason. It's interesting to me that he would make Cincinnati his top team. What was his reasoning?
I think because they are who they are, the caliber of team that they can be in this window of time that they're in, they've got some very interesting decisions to make because the elephant in the room is, well, maybe not for everybody. Maybe the Chase contract is bigger than T. Higgins in some people's minds, and I get that. But it's also the Trey Hendrickson thing, too. So you're talking your top 2 playmakers that are looking for new money, your pass rusher in Trey, who led the NFL in sacks at 17.5, looking for a new deal. And last offseason, AR, he requested a trade, correct? I think I'm remembering that correctly. So because of Joey B being one of the top dogs in the sport and these headliner names all looking for new deals, being a part of a franchise that has had some speed bumps along the way when it comes to big-time contracts, I see what Schefter's looking at because we could be talking about a completely different feel and vibe of a team going into next season if there is no T. Higgins, no Trey Hendrickson in the mix.
It does give Browns fans a little bit of hope that these guys who request trades then suddenly make a turnabout. It's like, no, I love this team. I'm in great shape. It's good to see the guys and all that. Like,
you know why
that's what Hendrickson did.
You know why I think the situation is a little different is because those guys are knowing I'm coming back to a contender. I think that's, for me, why if I'm Myles Garrett, that's the difference, is that I'm not coming into the building and seeing Joe Burrow every day that's giving me confidence that we can go out here and make a whole bunch of noise. Myles Garrett's walking into the building and saying, who's in that quarterback room? I think that, to me, is, the drastic difference between these two franchises right now.
Yeah, I'm like I've said before, and I think you've said it too. It's the Browns' fault, technically, that they went all in on Deshaun Watson. He never turned out to be anything of what they hoped.
Yeah.
He never got back to that talent mentally, maybe even physically. And now they're stuck with one of the biggest stars in the league not wanting to waste the rest of his prime being in Cleveland. And it doesn't really matter to him who they draft. I don't think. We'll ask Schefter about it tomorrow. No one's going to know this except him and the people very, very close to him, like his agent. They're going to look for I do buy one thing, and I don't a lot of these guys, things can be saved with money. It doesn't feel like that with him. Yeah, but I never want to exclude it completely from the conversation.
No, I'm not. Yeah. I just think he's one of the 1%ers in the NFL that when you dig in on a situation like this, you can really dig in because the bank account is booming already. If you're a guy that hasn't, had gotten to that big second contract in the NFL, then sometimes I look at those dudes and be like, okay, you're pump faking. I don't think Myles Garrett's pump faking in this situation. I really don't.
No, he printed it out and put a letter out there. Like, I do think that...
On his own. This didn't come from his agent.
Made it fairly official. This wasn't the whole... What was the one? Was it Russell Wilson, the one with the agents and the list of teams? And then he could have plausible deniability that I didn't...
Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah, I didn't alert him of anything of that. Listen, there are certain teams that Myles Garrett could go to that the Browns could trade him to that wouldn't, quote, come back and haunt them immediately. And that would have to be the NFC. It would have to be Washington, Detroit, Green Bay.
Are they in a position to really care about a team in the AFC coming back to haunt them? They're not in win now.
No, they just don't want to compete against him.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I'm always in favor of you get the best deal. For this guy, you got to get the best. You got to get the best deal. The other part of this that's tricky for Andrew Berry, and he's been adamant. It sounds like that. I'm not trading Myles Garrett, and I understand it, but I would do it. But from his perspective personally, he's got a lot on the line this year because he may be out of a job if the team doesn't play well next year. If you do trade him to a situation where Myles wants to be, which is a winning situation, that draft pick isn't going to be as juicy as you want it, right? Like you trade him to, I don't know, a Dallas or a Buffalo or one of those teams next year, that pick's going to be in the 20s. Now, you could still package that up and possibly move up to get to where you want, but that's the tricky part of this equation too, is that automatically sending him to a good team and giving Myles what he wants doesn't get you, I think, in position if you're the Browns to be picking where you want based off of where that first-round pick will probably be.
The only thing I'm saying from a personal standpoint or from a Browns fan, and you're right, the deal is the deal. If it's the best one, you take it, especially if it's overwhelming. But I can't imagine if they would trade him to the Buffalo Bills and they come to Cleveland in 2025, that would be...
You take it on the chin and move on with the draft assets because you're not a contender.
I know. You're going to lose the game probably anyway. Yeah, even with him, you'd probably lose the game. Even if you kept him, you'd probably lose the game. But it just has that vibe of if you can get similar deal, a couple picks, a player, that you would send him to the NFC and not the AFC so you don't have to accidentally run into him.
CB, how do you feel about that as a Browns fan? Would you care about the AFC, NFC thing, or you just like cash in whatever deal you can get we're going to bring back the highest value?
No, I'm with you on that, Matt. I would take the highest value, but I'm putting myself in the position of a guy whose job's on the line. He doesn't care about future assets. He needs guys to win now. So you want the piece that's going to win now, which is Myles Garrett. That's probably why he's so against right now making the deal.
Yeah, which is a head scratcher
and the money and the cap.
Well, I think it's like $36 million in dead cap if they trade him before June 1st.
Not a good financial decision either, besides from a personnel decision.
If I'm Myles Garrett, that ain't my problem.
No,
if I'm Myles,
it can be his problem. If Andrew makes it his problem.
Andrew, that's his problem. And Haslam's problem. If I'm Myles Garrett, I don't care about the cap situation.
No, he doesn't have to care about the cap, but what he has to care about is if the Browns don't want to trade him and they call his non-bluff and they say, no, you're under contract. We're not trading you. Either play for us or you don't get paid. They could do that.
They could. And
so
if
that
I'm
becomes his problem.
I'm showing up. I'm not showing up. And I got the money to afford the fines.
Yeah, that's right. And then
so you guys have fun with that on Sundays without me. That's the game I would play. And I think that's the game he will play.
And I don't think it would get to that. I agree with you. With what his value is, they'll probably turn him loose. And we did talk to Denzel Ward, the 4-time Pro Bowler, at the Super Bowl. And you'll hear that next. If you missed that interview, we'll play that for you next on whether or not, because he came out early in the week and said, Well, if he's gone,
I got some thinking to do.
Then maybe I don't want to be
I got
around.
some thinking to do. Before we go to break, CB, did you get a winner? Do we have a winner for our prize?
Yes, congrats to Joe. He knew the correct answer. Deion has not talking to the Titans.
Shout out to you, Joe. Thanks for listening, man. Enjoy the rodeo.
Well
Have
done,
fun.
Joe. So we'll play that for you next, our interview with Denzel Ward on the Garrett situation, and we put it to him on both fronts, himself and Garrett. And the Jets, Matty, reportedly told Aaron Rodgers he could no longer do this if he wanted to come back. We'll tell you what that is next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Come cheer on the Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team as they take on the University of Washington at the Shot on February 12th. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets and gear up for game day at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
One thing we keep hearing here in town, Wilson, is that the cost of Pella windows actually pleasantly surprises most people.
Pleasantly surprised?
You get the Pella next level quality and looks, but we also have 5 different lines to fit most budgets.
Our customers are almost always surprised, but it's never pleasant. Is there such thing as like angrily surprised?
Price is a little high.
Oh no, they're a lot high.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looking at a cloudy and dreary day in the Columbus metro area. Today's high will be 34. There will be some snow once you get down towards Pickaway County, down towards Ross and Vinton counties. Could be looking at some light accumulations down there. Tonight we drop down to 27. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
You're listening to Rothman and Ice, the #1 rated midday show in Columbus.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
All right, back at it. All right, so we talked to Denzel Ward at the Super Bowl. Great timing. He's up for the Man of the Year.
Yeah, good dude, man. Genuine guy.
NFL Walter Payton, Man of the Year. And it was weird timing. I'm going to be honest with you. He had dropped something to our friend Mary Kay Cabot about how if Myles Garrett gets traded, then I'm going to have to start thinking some things over. And I do think that he is a trade target. So he basically kind of intimated that if Myles Garrett leaves Cleveland, he may also have to think it over, which, if you connect the dots, would be request a trade himself. And now it's weird. I don't know if the headline matched exactly what he said, but there are teams that would want him. I think my Vikes would want him. I think there are some other teams that certainly would be interested in a 4-time Pro Bowler. But we put it to him about the Garrett situation and his own feeling about Cleveland, and here's what he had to say. Have you talked to him personally, and do you feel like this is rescuable for Cleveland?
Yeah, I talked to him. I do feel that it's rescuable. I do. So just got to continue to see where his head's at and what he's thinking. But at the end of the day, it's his decision and what he decides and wants to do with his career and everything. And, I mean, can't do nothing but respect it.
The question is, what exactly in Myles' mind will make it rescuable? They've already said, hey, we got new money for you. He said, I don't want it. I don't want your money. So is a draft selection of Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders going to make Myles Garrett say, you know what? That's it. I'm back in. I'm a full-time Brown. I'm giving it all, and I'm going to be here in the Muni lot popping bottles with CB. I don't know if that's the case. Only Myles knows that. But it seems like they had a conversation, that being Myles, his camp, Andrew Berry, Stefanski, I don't know, that there was a conversation had this offseason, and Myles was like, that ain't it. What they sold him, AR, the vision he's not seeing. And so when Denzel says that, I believe him, but I'm just very curious as to what exactly that is for Myles, to where it will become rescuable, and he would say, I'm going to yank back this trade request, and here we go.
Great question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody knows but him. I do think that this is the first order of business, is for him to request the trade, for the Browns to say, no, we're not trading you. You're too good. You're too valuable to us. So now they've both made their first move in the chess game, right? He puts his pawn out. They put theirs out. And now this is the total right out of the handbook, the GM handbook and the player handbook. You want out because you're not coming back to a 3-win team or whatever, or how many whatever wins he expects them to have, and then they say, no way, come on. You are as valuable as anybody we've ever had. Why would we ever think about trading you? And he says, well, you didn't think about trading me until I said I want out, and now you're going to be forced to. Diana Rossini said that he's not bluffing. That, of course, that's what they probably would want to get to her, and he may not be bluffing. I don't know. And then the other part of it is when we talked to Denzel about, well, what if it happens? What about you? Is there an easy feeling, an uneasy feeling when you think an organization may be thinking about a rebuild, a retool? where your name can get floated out, not even accurately sometimes. But are you feel like you're in good position here with this Browns team and you want to be there?
Oh, yeah, I definitely want to be here for the Cleveland Browns. I'm a hometown kid, man, so I'm right at home with Cleveland, and I love this team, man. So I just want to see what we got to do to help this team win and get to championships and hopefully play in the Super Bowl someday.
All right, was he just publicly putting on a good face for us?
Only he knows.
Yeah.
Only he knows. I do think, though, AR, the quote that Mary Kay got from him when it comes to if Miles is traded, I got some things to think about. I think that's real. How could you not if you're Miles, if you're Denzel Ward, in the situation that he's in? I mean, this guy got drafted back in 2018. He's been a great individual player, but it's time for team success. And how many times do you want to continue to run into this brick wall as a captain of this team on this ship year in and year out and feel like, my goodness, I mean, we're just not going anywhere. You want to be a part of something special, especially when you see a team like, Saquon and the Eagles cash in and all these Super Bowl champions. When you're in that class of player, right? And Denzel and both Miles they're amongst the elites at their position. You want that to mean something. And so for both these guys, it's not about the money anymore. Denzel's made almost $90 million in his career. Myles Garrett's made over $120 million in his career as well. And so that's not what this is about. And I truly believe that at their core, these guys want to be a part of something special. And I just don't, the belief in Cleveland, it can't be there.
No.
I don't know how they can believe.
And I'm not here to tell you this is a one-year thing. I told you guys a month ago. So what? So you have another bad season. You're used to it. You have to tank again. This may be, we may have to simplify this. That if the Titans take Cam Ward, the Browns go ahead and take Abdul Carter, draft whatever facsimile Garrett replacement you can, then trade him after the draft for post-June so you can limit the dead cap, get the couple of first-rounders, don't worry about drafting, don't worry about getting a quarterback this year that can get you to the next one, have another 3 to 5 win season, and hopefully take all of your ammunition that you gained from the Garrett trade, plus the pick you'll have, and draft Jimmy Haslam's little Arch Manning project. Like, that could be it. And honestly,
maybe,
it sucks to think that way if you're a Browns fan, because you think about a snapback. You think about, I just went through this, why would I want to go through it again? It's the one organization that isn't afraid their fans are going to abandon them. They're not. And so I do think that could be the play here. Now, what would throw it into a weird sidebar would be is if the Titans decide the same thing. No, we like Levis, so we're drafting Carter.
Mm-hmm.
And now you don't get Garrett's replacement. And so you feel like you're kind of, because I think that would be the way to go. If they're stuck and they're going to have to trade him, Matty, and you can get what you can get, and you and I both know it'll be a great thing, then you don't swing for the quarterback this year that's in a quarterback potential draft but not a guarantee. You get a chance to get maybe a better quarterback, and you use your ammunition if you need to move up in the draft next year to get what you want.
Or maybe even the year after that.
Or maybe.
Just depending on the scouting. That's what this all
Sucks.
comes down to. And it does suck. And I feel for CB and I feel for Browns fans because this has just been the same merry-go-round that they've been on for years and years and years.
Hey, it's like we always say, there's always next year.
I know. And it's really unfortunate. Yeah. It really is unfortunate just because they have done a good job of identifying players like Miles and Denzel Ward and JOK and the Njokus of the world. This isn't a roster that doesn't have talent. When Baker took over this thing, there were conversations on national TV about the Browns having the best roster in the NFL. I remember people talking about it. Like that we're not that far removed from those type of conversations. It's just now you've gone down this dark rabbit hole at the quarterback position, and you've got this anchor of a contract that's attached to a guy that is no longer good at quarterback. He's just, I don't even know if he's average anymore based off what we've seen, and he can't stay healthy. And so they're just a buried franchise right now that unfortunately is now again feeling like, well, this is the Brown stuff happening around us because we're picking number 2 overall, and this isn't even last year's draft. This isn't Caleb Williams and Jane Daniels up top, and if you get one of them, you feel good about it. That's the unfortunate thing for the Browns as well.
No doubt. But you can't make, well, you can. You can make a big mistake by not picking the right guy. You could also make a big mistake by not picking any guy and going with my other theory that you're just going to stockpile the picks and trade out or take.
Oh, AR, think of that. If they pass on one of these
and
guys,
one of them works out,
and one of them hits,
yeah, so,
you're sick.
But what's the bigger mistake though is picking a guy that turns into a bust. That's the bigger mistake.
Well, I think for me, I'd be willing to do that because I would take the swing on Shedeur. I would. I think there's something there, absolutely. But you just got to keep swinging. You're going to have the capital to make a move elsewhere when you do this stuff with Miles if they trade him, but they have to keep swinging until they connect and hit one over the fence. You got to.
Quickly here, Diana Rossini on her Scoop City podcast was told that when Rodgers met with the Jets about what the future would look like, that they put the hammer down and said, you know, if you're going to be part of this team, you're going to attend the training camp and you're going to not do any more Pat McAfee interviews. Like, that's what she claims, that they had conversations with him. If you were to stay here, here's how we would want it to be. And she said, well, this is Aaron Glenn basically taking control of if you're going to be our guy. So these people that are saying that, oh, the Jets flew Aaron Rodgers out there just to slap him in the face, I don't think that's really it. I think they had a conversation where they both stood. You want to have that face-to-face if you can. And I don't think they just did this to slap him. I think that they were probably more than happy to move on from him and start new, but I don't even know. I don't know what the McAfee interviews are. I guess they just don't want any narrative out there. We want to keep this to football. Mm-hmm. Like, let's be committed, I think is what they were saying.
And I respect Aaron Glenn for putting his foot down.
If that's what happened.
I really do. I respect him because that didn't seem to be the case when you had Robert Saleh in charge over there. It seemed like Aaron Rodgers was running the show and they had seemed like some static between the two of them. So good for Aaron Glenn for coming in there and saying, this is how we're going to do things, and this is how I want things done.
Yeah. All right. If you want to start feeling better, it's time to go to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment. You know, you've been probably dodging it for a little while, and I get it because we all put things off or we think things aren't the way they are. But if you've noticed, and you know more than anybody, if you've lost muscle mass, if you've gained weight, if you're just knocked out in the afternoon, you're just not motivated, and you feel like that's wrong. It shouldn't be that way. Go find out. Could be low testosterone. It's possible. And Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office, so their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy or TRT for every patient. So they're going to individualize it for you. It won't be a standard dosage treatment. And so they have more than a decade of experience helping patients. And so that's the place you want to go to, a place that you can trust. So go get your numbers. You can get your health evaluated there too, prescription GLP-1 weight loss meds. But it really is one-stop shopping now for the guy out there in his 30s, 40s, 50s, and you just don't feel the way you should. So get back to feeling your best. Go to lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. All right, Ryan Roberts will jump on in 2 minutes, NFL draft and college football analyst. And I'll put the theory to him. Could the Brownies go the other way and draft Garrett's replacement and then trade him after the draft? Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came back to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Scotty Vegas here, offering you a sure bet. If you choose Awaken 180, you will succeed. We all did. I dropped my 35 pounds. Austin dropped his 50, and Beam is almost down 52. What's stopping you? A sure bet at awaken180weightloss.com.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any MetroFlex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Maddie ranked the most dynamic duo of all time, Caesar Salad and Moscow Mule. This is Rothman and Ice.
All right, here we go. Draft will be here before we know it. Brownies on the clock technically at number 2, plus they got the big piece in Garrett. They can dangle out there. I know they won't say that publicly, but they know they could potentially rebuild this thing in the next couple of years with a lot of ammunition. Our friend Ryan Roberts, NFL draft and college football analyst. He's with A to Z Sports. You can follow him on Twitter, on X, A to Z Sports NFL, for all the latest NFL news and updates and analysis and all the NFL film breakdowns. Here he is. Good to have you back, Ryan.
I appreciate you guys for having me back.
All right, so I threw out this little theory on, because I think both the Browns and Myles Garrett are playing this right out of the player GM playbook, right? The first move is always, I want to be traded. No, you're too valuable. We won't trade you. Okay, that's great.
Right.
That appeases the fans if you're on the GM side, right? That's Andrew Berry telling his fans, no, we're not stupid. We know how great. And by the way, that also makes him look like the bad guy. He wants out. We don't want him to leave. He wants out. So they both played this move. What if, we start to come down to the level part here and just say that eventually they do have to move him? Would they draft, if the Titans take Cam Ward at number 1, if they go quarterback, because that's the key in all this, would you think that the Browns drafting Abdul Carter could be a potential future replacement for Garrett, and then that would make them feel better about moving him? What do you think of Abdul Carter and that theory that he could eventually be, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of a Garrett?
I mean, it might be a little bit crazy, but I've honestly I've mocked Abdul Carter to the Cleveland Browns even before the Myles Garrett thing kind of arose. Like, I'm not opposed just generally to make a strength a bigger strength, and to have a guy like Myles Garrett get a little bit more one-on-one action and not have to get chipped all the time and leave extra protection in to handle him. I mean, it's going to be fascinating for the Cleveland Browns because obviously, what's the quarterback situation going to be like? Do you take best player available? Like, it's a fascinating conversation, but I think we align just from an ideology perspective in the sense of, like, when I heard them say, we're not interested in, trading Myles Garrett. Like, I mean, what are they going to say? Like, yes, so we want to trade him, and then all of his trade value goes down because then you don't have any leverage anymore, right? Like, that you want to trade him ultimately, and that he's out the door. So I wasn't surprised by that. I would not be opposed to Abdul Carter, whether Myles Garrett is back or he isn't back, because I think that he is, in my opinion, the best overall player in this draft, and I'm just not sure if this is the draft that you want to take a quarterback at number 2. Like, I think I'd rather take an elite potential blue chip player than take a quarterback that in most years would probably be, last year's class, Cam Ward is probably quarterback 4, quarterback 5, like somewhere in that ballpark, right? So I wouldn't be opposed to taking Abdul Carter, whether it's with or without Myles Garrett. I think he's that type of football player.
So let's say you are Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam is telling you, no, we're taking a quarterback at 2. Which of the 2 quarterbacks would you hope Tennessee passes on so you could select him and make him a Cleveland Brown?
It would be Cam Ward if I had to. I'm buying into the tools a little bit. I don't think there's any natural, there's no true first-round quarterback in this class. Like, for me, I have a early second-round grade on Cam Ward. That's not position battle infused into it. So, obviously, like, an early second-round quarterback is going to get pushed up to the first round. So, I'd be, generally speaking, just okay with taking Cam Ward in the first round. Top 5, number 2 overall is still rich, but I would be willing to take the gamble because he has elite-level tools. He has a big-time arm. He has shown progression year in year, which I think is big because there's obviously the boomer bust factor. But anytime you see a quarterback that has consistently gotten better year in and year, I still have a lot of faith that there's a couple more jumps in there, from a technical perspective, from a footwork perspective. Like, that's all teachable stuff as long as he's in a good system with good coaches and he's able to, want to do it. He wants to do the work ultimately. So I would say Cam Ward. Shedeur, I've just been cooling on more and more the more I watch him. Like, I don't hate him as a player, But there's something missing there, man. Arm strength is average for NFL standards. I think athleticism is average at best, maybe slightly below average. I do think he's a good processor. I do think he's accurate. But I just think there's a little bit of a ceiling there that we don't talk about enough, right? So if I'm taking a quarterback at number 2 in a class that doesn't have a true first rounder, I'm going to bank on the upside and the tools, and I think that's Cam Ward in this class.
He's Ryan Roberts, A to Z Sports here on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. The other popular do-it-all guy is Travis Hunter. A lot of people think he's the best available or will be the best available once the quarterbacks go. And you see him being mostly a full-time corner in the league.
Yes, yeah, I think he's because for me, the conversation is going to continue about trying to play both sides, and I think that he will try to do it in some capacity. But for me, a full-time corner and part-time wide receiver, whether that's 5-10 snaps a game, maybe you're playing in high leverage situations, it's a lot easier to be a part-time wide receiver than it is to be a part-time corner. Like, I can have a specified role for him. I can have a very small amount of routes, route tree, very small amount of just number of plays that I get him in. At corner, it's like there's so much communication on the back end. There's so many variations of different coverage shells. Like, I just think that's a lot to try to throw on someone in even a part-time basis, right? So I think he's a full-time corner that can do a little bit of wide receiver work for you, but I don't think it's going to be as large as people think. Like, I don't see him playing, 50, 60-plus snaps every week on both sides of the football. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see him being a 100-plus snap guy. So that's kind of what I see. I see full-time corner and a little bit of wide receiver when you feel like you want to do it.
Who is your highest-ranked Buckeye on the board and why?
Josh Simmons, actually. I'm a huge Josh Simmons fan. He's my OT1 in this class. If Josh Simmons did not get hurt in the middle of the season in the Oregon game, I think that he would be the consensus offensive tackle 1, because there's not really a consensus offensive tackle 1. Like, there's some people that like Armin Menbow from Missouri. There's some people that love Will Campbell from LSU. There's others that have questions about if Will Campbell's even a tackle. Kelvin Banks is a little bit of the same from Texas. I think just generally speaking, when you talk about the offensive tackle profile, Simmons has 34-plus inch arms. He's a really smooth athlete, and he was pretty good in 2023, but he was playing at a completely different level in 2024. So the medicals are going to be a part of the conversation, but, if the medicals do clear, I think Josh Simmons has a chance to go a lot higher than maybe people are even projecting right now. I mean, I just had him go in top 10 in a recent mock draft because I think the kid is fantastic. I think he's a future starter at left tackle, and I think he's going to be a dang good one for a long time. All
right, Ryan, if we deal with the picks the Browns have right now, I'm going to take you back to, let's say they avoid the quarterback, like you're saying. They just say, we're not sure. We don't think they're franchise type stuff. We're going to rebuild. We're going to trade and all that. Which quarterback should they target later? I've heard some of my Browns fans are saying, friends of mine are saying, if we picked up Jackson Dart late, that'd be fine with me. Where do you stand on some of the mid-round quarterbacks the Browns could snatch up if they don't take one of 2?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that right now it's so interesting to see just how the second, third tier quarterbacks are being valued. I mean, I was just looking at like Dane Burglar's top 100 big board, and obviously Dane's very plugged in the NFL. And I mean, he had Jackson Dart at, I think, 57, and then he had actually Tyler Shuck from Louisville at 59. He had Jalen Milroe at 61, and then I think Will Howard was at 84. I think if there's a day 2 quarterback, I would be okay with taking the swing on Jalen Milroe. Now, there is a possibility that he's never anything, right? But if I'm investing a day 2 pick into a quarterback that doesn't end up ever playing, it's a loss, but it's one that you deal with because you took a gamble on the most important position in sports, right? So Jalen Milroe was a guy that I would take a gamble on. I would take a gamble on if Jackson Dart is there more in the middle of day 2, which I don't think he will be at this point. He's probably more of like an early day 2 pick. I'd be okay with him. If we get back into the 3rd and 4th round and then a Will Howard from Ohio State is there, like, I would be okay with that as well. But if you're taking a gamble on a kid in the 2nd, 3rd round potentially that you think does still have starter upside, does have developmental upside, I would want Jalen Milroe, then probably Jackson Dart, and then if not, I would wait for a guy like a Will Howard, hopefully a round or 2 later than that.
Ryan, is Ashton Jeanty worth a first-round pick in your mind?
He is, yeah. I think it's a very interesting conversation of exactly where in the first round. Like, I mean, I've seen him mocked as high as, like, in the top 10. So, like, the Las Vegas Raiders are one that's kind of been talked about a lot. So, I would definitely take him in the first round. I do think top 10 is pretty steep. But, like, if a team's sitting there in, like, the top 20, top 25, I would be very okay with taking him. I think that the 3-down upside, the physicality, the contact balance he brings, I think he brings a really, really great floor to the table and the 3-down upside.
Well done, my man. Good little early draft primer by Ryan Roberts. A to Z Sports. Check it out. It's an awesome site. Ryan, we'll be calling you back soon. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Ryan was on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fangus hotline. All right, we're going to come back with a bulletin, Maddie. And there are some rumors circulating that a longtime NFL coach could be joining Ohio State staff. We'll give you the latest next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan.
You imagine it so often, it's almost real. That one dream vacation you know someday you'll take. Then, out of the blue, cancer. And that dream goes off exactly as planned. I would know, kiddo. I'm in the big city with my 2 best girls. Our 4th big trip since I heard the words cancer-free from my doctor at Ohio Health. All right, girls, let's get another ice cream. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans.
At Twin Peaks, they're proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskeys, and tequilas. Plus, check out their barrel selects that are handpicked by their team and bottled just for you. Supply is limited. Check with your favorite location to see what they're pouring. Cheers.
Come cheer on the Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team as they take on the University of Washington at the Shot on February 12th. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets and gear up for game day at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Valentine's Day is a good deal sweeter when you shop at Meijer. This week, select bagged Valentine's Day candy is buy one, get one 50% off. Fresh from Meijer chocolate dipped strawberries are just $9.99. Certified Angus beef New York strip steak is $11.99 a pound. And our floral department is overflowing with beautiful fresh Valentine's Day bouquets and flower arrangements. Count on Meijer to bring more from the heart to Valentine's Day. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store, in the Meijer app, and online at Meijer.com.
Breaking news coming in from Bet360. .365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even